For the first time, the youngest wife of Osama bin Laden breaks her silence, revealing how the terrorist evaded the U.S. manhunt for 9.5 years.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're looking at the most bizarre, most unbelievable discoveries made from declassifying the al-Qaeda founder's private files.
Authorities in all 50 states are being warned that al-Qaeda had been planning to attack train lines.
He plotted to assassinate Barack Obama.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
A trove of letters discovered at bin Laden's Abbottabad hideout in Pakistan revealed the increasingly out-of-touch militant leader making desperate plans for his organization's future. One of the most ambitious was a half-formed plan to take the life of then U.S. President Barack Obama.
After a firefight, they killed Osama bin Laden and took custody of his body. For over 2 decades, bin Laden has been al-Qaeda's leader and symbol, and has continued to plot attacks against our country and our friends and allies. The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
According to ABC News, a letter to a newly promoted al-Qaeda lieutenant in May 2010 revealed that bin Laden intended to have Obama and General David Petraeus killed, but then Vice President Joe Biden spared. Said bin Laden in the letter, quote, "Biden is totally unprepared for that post, which will lead the U.S. into a crisis," end quote. He would have been very disappointed in the results of the 2020 election then.
We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Joseph R. Biden Jr. is elected the 46th president of the United States.
He worried that his wife's tooth was being tracked. Yeah, this one might take a little bit of explaining. As part of a second batch of declassified letters released to the public, one particularly eyebrow-raising detail stood out. Writing to one of his wives who lived in Iran, an increasingly paranoid bin Laden expressed the following, quote, "I was told that you went to a dentist in Iran and you were concerned about a filling she put in for you. Please let me know in detail any suspicions that any of the brothers may have about chips planted in any way," end quote. That said, no evidence exists to suggest that bin Laden's wife was indeed being tracked by any kind of foreign intelligence agency. He was into conspiracy theories.
Is Osama bin Laden dead or alive?
You know, I can't say 100%, but I can say there's no good evidence that he is still alive, and there's a lot of good evidence that he's dead. So I would say most likely dead.
It seems only fitting that the man who orchestrated the 9/11 attacks was also consumed by them. As such, bin Laden's personal library was stocked full of books about 9/11 conspiracy theories.
Third element of evidence is that there was a lot of evidence that he was a kidney patient, that he was in the final stages, in fact, of
kidney failure.
Yeah. David Ray Griffin, author of The New Pearl Harbor, Disturbing Questions About the Bush Administration and 9/11, was amused when informed by The Guardian that his book had ended up in Osama's collection. Said Griffin, quote, "I'm disappointed that he only had one of my books. He should have read Pearl Harbor Revisited." Similar works in bin Laden's library included books by noted conspiracist Fritz Springmeier, Holocaust denier Eustace Mullins, and, curiously, Canadian mystic Manly Palmer Hall.
We can't bring peace in the world if we can't have it in our own family. And how can we declare the ambitions are false when we can't stop using narcotics for our own pleasure?
He had big plans for the 10th anniversary of his most famous moment.
It did not take long at all. The documents from Osama bin Laden's compound have already given up a vital piece of information: that al-Qaeda was plotting to strike America again this coming September on the 10th anniversary of 9/11, and the target, trains.
The tragic events of September 11, 2001 were the result of meticulous planning by bin Laden and his al-Qaeda co-conspirators. That day changed the trajectory of American history forever and completely altered the country's perspective on matters of national security. According to declassified files found in Abbottabad, bin Laden had plans for a follow-up attack on U.S. soil intended for September 11, 2011.
As one option, al-Qaeda was looking into trying to tip a train by tampering with the rails so that the train would fall off the track at either a valley or a bridge.
You can't guard hundreds of miles of track. And if they can get to one location that's not well guarded and put explosives on it or do something to cause the train to derail, that's a lot easier than going after an aircraft.
The dissident was obsessively plotting in the months and years before his killing. Said Bruce Riedel for nonpartisan think tank the Brookings Institution, quote, "The intercepted communications focused on selecting operatives for an attack, but the target was apparently not clear in the information found in his hideout," end quote.
One official tells ABC News the materials found at the bin Laden hideout include schematics and websites involving a variety of things al-Qaeda was considering. One official describes the documents as aspirational, but not indicative of final stage planning.
He had 4 children and 5 houses while in hiding.
For the first time, the youngest wife of Osama bin Laden breaks her silence, revealing how the terrorist evaded the U.S. manhunt for 9.5 years. Her story made public nearly 1 year after a team of Navy SEALs shot bin Laden and wounded her.
You can't say that Osama bin Laden didn't keep busy during his time on the run from global intelligence agencies. Amal Ahmed Abdul Fattah, bin Laden's youngest wife at the time of his death, offered up a testimony that painted a picture of what his secluded life looked like in the years following the 9/11 attacks.
Amal and the 2 other wives shared the crowded Abbottabad compound where bin Laden was ultimately found, a place where he spent his time watching satellite TV news and trying to keep peace among the wives and at least 8 children and 5 grandchildren.
I can only begin to imagine that looked like American reality TV, that he was living some version of the Kardashians in Abbottabad.
In those 10 years, Fattah gave birth to 4 children. Said the New York Times, quote, "A separate document states that she gave fake identity papers to hospital staff," end quote. According to Peter Bergen's The Rise and Fall of Osama bin Laden, quote, "He followed the life of a devoted paterfamilias, taking a keen interest in the education of his offspring and presiding over family meetings," end quote.
What does that suggest about his mindset during those years on the run?
Well, I think, we have this notion that he was interested in preserving his legacy. We've got that famous video of him watching his old videos, sitting there in the house in Abbottabad.
He loved animated movies.
I mean, I gotta believe there's some place out there that's better than this. Otherwise, I would just curl up in a larval position and weep.
According to files released to the public by the Central Intelligence Agency, bin Laden found more than a few ways to keep busy while hiding out. One of these ways, it would seem, was absorbing large quantities of Western media. Found on his computer were such classics of American animated cinema as Ants, Cars, Chicken Little, and more.
Hey, what's wrong?
Nothing.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I heard you yell.
No. I fell out of bed.
Perhaps even stranger, it wasn't just movies that were found among bin Laden's personal effects, but viral videos and other bits of ephemera, like the Charlie Bit My Finger video and several Tom and Jerry cartoons. His intricate communication system.
First they got the nickname, then they were able about 4 years ago to get the real name, and sometime after that they got his cell phone number. So they started tracking the cell phone, but he would turn off the cell phone anytime he got anywhere near the compound.
The al-Qaeda mastermind's Abbottabad residence may have contained his family and all the cartoons he ever could have hoped to watch. But one crucial thing it didn't have was internet access. So how did he communicate with the outside world? Through an extremely well-thought-out system that minimized the risk of foreign interception.
For some years, they were listening for this cell phone, and it never showed up in any place that would correlate with a compound.
According to NBC News, bin Laden would type a message on his computer without an internet connection, then save it using a thumb-sized flash drive. He then passed the flash drive to a trusted courier who would head for a distant internet cafe. At that point, the courier would copy the contents of the message into an email and send it. The reverse would allow bin Laden to read messages sent back to him.
And they watched this compound day after day until they could identify 3 families. The courier's family, his brother's family, and then there was this third family, which looked to be the same size as the family they thought bin Laden was living with. Another piece of circumstantial evidence. And there never was a smoking gun.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into Settings and switch on your notifications. He had a fondness for, adult films. From the time of the 2011 raid on bin Laden's Abbottabad compound, rumors persisted that a large quantity of adult films made up a significant chunk. These rumors were finally confirmed in 2015, when James Clapper, then Director of National Intelligence under President Obama, announced their existence. Anyone hoping for a lurid taste of bin Laden's, well, tastes, would be sorely disappointed. Said Clapper, quote, "We are not going to release these materials due to the nature of their contents," end quote. While the specifics of bin Laden's collection will likely never see the light of day, a 2011 Reuters report noted that it was, quote, "fairly extensive." Which declassified secret shocked you the most? Are there any we missed? Be sure to let us know in the comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.